real hot giant desert, incredible Maldivian coast, fantastic pink lake, Dead Sea, an authentic safari with buffaloes, antelopes, zebras and bison. Where do you think we are? Yes, my friends. Only few know that we can find all this beauty in our homeland. We're now in the Kherson region. Here you can spend the most exotic and sweetest vacation ever. Let's go! Travel around Ukraine with Dmytro camera. Here, my friends, you can see our own gorgeous Ukrainian steppes and beautiful savannas. Right now, we'll visit 5 continents at once. And they're all here in the Kherson region. Can you believe it? You'll see. We're approaching the largest protected steppe in Europe. These lands have never been cultivated. It was always wilderness, and wildlife has been preserved here. We can say this is our Noah's Ark, one of the 7 natural wonders of Ukraine. A home for the rare animals from around the world, Askania-Nova Biosphere Reserve. Remember our safaris in Kenya, Tanzania, Serengeti National Parks in Ngorongoro, with giraffes, crocodiles, hippos, monkeys, and green parrots. Here it's not worse, but even better and more interesting. This Ukrainian wonder is located near the city of Askania-Nova in the Kherson region. Its area is 33,000 hectares, which is about 46,000 professional football fields, more than one whole state of Malta, or the size of 2 Lichtenschteins. Over 1,200 animals from 5 continents live in the vast territory in semi-wild conditions. This is not a zoo. People here are guests in the animal world. Most of the territory is off-limits, so men do not interfere with nature. At the entrance, there's an area where you can look at the animals at arm's length. It's called Photo Safari, which is very popular all over the world and offers you immersion in the world of wildlife. Buy a ticket and you're on a safari train. For 2 hours, you'll be watching the wild world of 5 continents. There is something where Askania-Nova is ahead of the national parks of Kenya and Tanzania, proximity to animals. This is called, my friends, a safari on a train. You ride a certain route where you can see animals just wandering around. This is amazing. Wow, look! Did you have such contact with animals when we traveled in Africa? No, but here in the Kherson region, it's real. Safari in Askania is a paradise for fans of exotic photos on social networks. Here, any person, not only a scientist, can have a close-up with exotic animals without cages, fences and aviaries. One can't do it anywhere else. Let's see how it works. Selfie with a zebra. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Look, friends, you can do it in Africa. Girls, how do you like it? Very, very much. Have you ever been in such reserves in other countries? Yes, in Singapore. If you compare to Askania is much larger. The contact is closer. You can't find such close contact. This is amazing. In this territory, humans are guests, not owners. Therefore, safety is the first priority here. Luckily, Askania rangers have dedicated their entire lives to working with animals. They seem to become interpreters between tourists and animals, helping humans to establish close but safe contact with their younger siblings. All animals know and listen to the local leader, a biologist and a real ranger, director of Askania-Nova, Viktor Havrylenko. He has been managing this reserve for 30 years. Very quickly, you understand that there is no alternative to him. Viktor has supernatural abilities to communicate with animals. Even the wildest giants obey him. We'll see that for ourselves. See, they get used to people and behave like that. What do you want? You're very, very, very cheeky. You need to keep zebras at distance. Can it kick? It can, and very hard. Once we saw a male trying to court a female. He got such a kick that he hiccuped for about half of an hour after that. Wild zebras are virtually untamable, but those who've been in contact with people since childhood can be quite friendly. As far as I know, zebras' patterns are individual, like human fingerprints. They know themselves from each other by these patterns. It's true. We cannot see the difference, but they can. Imagine a flock of birds flying. They also know each other. By the way, this pattern is also protective. When tsetse flies or other dangerous insects see the stripes, they perceive them as just flickering and don't bite. Yes, that's absolutely right. To be honest, I'm delighted with such proximity to zebras. I adore these animals. For hundreds of years, thousands of scientists, including Darwin himself, have debated why zebras are striped. They did not come to a consensus. Therefore, zebras are not just striped horses, but walking mysteries of nature. As far as I know, zebras can mate with horses. The result is a hybrid, and it's not fertile. It's called zebroid, isn't it? That's right. Not android, but zebroid. Dear friends, let's move on. Tourists continue safari in the Ukrainian Savannah. They'll meet the rarest animals, while we follow the director to the forbidden territory. Here they have the same animals as in the tourist area, but they're fully wild. They are kept in conditions close to natural. We can say that they have almost no contact with people. They practically do not contact humans except for one person, Director Viktor. Sometimes researchers, biologists, and employees of the national park come here. No money can buy a ticket here. For us, rangers made an exception and allowed to film, so all of you could see behind the scenes of a unique Ukrainian reserve. Access is allowed only to scientists, special groups that study biodiversity of our country, and, of course, journalists. Thank you very much. Not to disturb the natural living conditions of wild animals, no more than 300 visitors a year are allowed here. We're incredibly lucky. Our profession gets up into this closed area and lets us see how wild African, Asian, and many other animals live in our Ukrainian steppes in the Kherson region. Getting behind the inner gates is not the most difficult thing yet. There's a huge space without cages and aviaries, and to find certain animals, you must have the skill of a tracker. Fortunately, after 30 years, Viktor knows this wild realm by heart. Today, only thanks to him, we can see these unique shots. You are not only a director and a photographer, you're also a super driver who knows how to drive like no one else. You can drive with no steering wheel here. You can turn upside down. This plane was once the bottom of the former Pontic Sea. It was a seabed? That's right. The ground cover formed about 12,000 years ago. We move on to lands untouched by man. Suddenly, a herd of animals of incredible beauty appears on the horizon. Friends, I'm delighted. Look, these are all red book kulons. The rarest animal. It is found almost nowhere in the world. Kulon in Mongolian language means fast, invincible, and it's absolutely deserved. It's believed that kulons have never been tamed. It's incredible to see these animals nearby. What's going on there? Why are they running in a crowd, but one animal, I don't know, male or female, is running around? That territorial male has trapped about 100 females and keeps them, doesn't let them out of its territory. And there is another territorial kulon who has also tried to take his large harem. That male didn't let him and drove him away. So there are males who do not have access to females. Sure, these bachelor groups who can't keep the territory have to live alone. Weaklings don't get women. This is natural selection. Only the strongest male, who overpowered everyone, gets females. The other remain bachelors. Males can show their strength to uninvited guests with a camera. You must remember it when you meet such more massive inhabitants than the Kurlans. Here you can't walk on foot because there's a herd of kaffir buffaloes. Are they dangerous? They can attack? They guard this area like dogs. And if I go alone, you can't. I know firsthand what it is. We've had a case when a buffalo crashed a radiator and engine. We know what to expect. For those who don't know much about cars, I'll explain. A buffalo crashed the car with its horns. That's why it's a forbidden territory. It's dangerous here. I don't want to check the words of an experienced biologist, so I get in the car and watch from an ambush. I see African buffaloes. This one can kill with one blow. Four big ones are standing, the calf is hiding behind them, and another relaxing in this one. Let's try to drive closer slowly. There they are, very close. They start advancing us. They don't run away, but want to attack. Their reflex is to protect their offspring. Yes. Where are you going? See, he wants to attack. Protects its territory, his calf. Here. Wow. To show the buffaloes closer, Viktor took a risk and stopped. This man has authority even over these horned giants, but he says that if he makes a mistake, even he won't be able to stop such an enemy. So we do obey the director of the reserve. I can't go out. The director doesn't let me, because they can attack instantly. They can turn this car over. These animals are quite aggressive. They know this territory well and guard it. No one else can come here. Once the villagers tried poaching and went fishing here, kaffir buffaloes came after them. The poachers ran over the fence and thought they escaped. Not at all. Kaffirs began breaking the fence, and they had to run 3 kilometers to the outer fence. Otherwise, Kaffirs would have killed them. There were no more intruders. May I come down? Yes, you may. African buffalo is a real killing machine, strength and power. I think each animal weighs about half a ton, right? Yes, definitely. We saw buffaloes in Brazil, in Africa, but we couldn't imagine that they also live here. They consider this territory their own. Moreover, it is their territory, and they carefully guard it, not letting strangers in. What if I'll go slowly towards them? Then what? I wouldn't advise that. He'll attack forward, and the whole herd will follow him. A herd of bison is grazing right next to the powerful buffaloes. These animals are no less dangerous. All employees know the rules of conduct in such a company. Many have learned this lesson the hard way. It may seem that in everyday life, Ukrainians are unlikely to meet an African buffalo, but in our forests you can easily meet other dangerous wild animals. And in this case, such advice may well save lives. The rules of behavior with many animals are universal. For Askanian employees, they are the rules of life. If you want to shoo off an animal, don't run away. You need to turn to the animal, open your jacket sharply, or lift something about you. Show them the holds. You can raise your hat, right? Yes, sharply. May I throw a hat? Well, you know, sometimes I end up throwing something to show who's in charge here. Animals usually respect the stronger. If it sees that you're afraid, you can definitely expect an attack. Take 2 more steps and talk to him. But confidently. Yes, sure. 1, 2. Yes, ask him what he wants. What do you want? Ask what he's doing here. If the bulls are in front of you, you have to bully a little, as they say. That's right. Let's meet the bison closer. There were 60 million of these animals in North America. Can you imagine? By 1872, they almost went extinct, and only 850 animals were left in the Yellowstone National Wildlife Refuge. Oh, look at the fight! Bison seem very calm, but only at first sight. If they don't like something, the reaction is instantaneous. This mountain of bones and muscles weighing a ton, with huge sharp horns, immediately attack. That is why you should always keep a bison in sight and do not let it get close. Father, stop coming here. Where are you going? That's all right. See, he backs away. This is the proof. I told you. We need to show the horns, so to say, raise hands. You see what's going on here? The female is in heat, and a bunch of males gathered around her. They do not particularly like the situation, and they probably hear us too. They think we're also pretenders. Look, he's coming here. He stares at us. Put hands out and speak to him. Where are you going? Where? Look how stubborn he is. Stop. So this is the mating season for the female. It started. Males gathered around her, and everyone is trying to get close. Here's the leader, as you can see. Way to go! Did they do well? Everything is all right, yes. And you can wait for a new calf. In 9 months, we expect a calf. Excellent. We have just witnessed the conception of a new bison in the Askania-Nova Nature Park, Kherson region, Ukraine. And you don't have to go to North America or travel the 7 seas. Here, everything is in front of you. It's a miracle. How many bison are here? We have more than 50 bison here now. We sold 8, so we have at least 52. Do you sell them? Sure, we keep the balance in their quantity. Where do you sell them? Recently, 8 animals went to western Ukraine and 2 near Kiev. How much does one animal cost? 35,000 hryvnias. It's not much. It's not. We sell to organizations where the animals will certainly have the right conditions. So you can't buy it like a toy. Definitely not. Thank God. Those are the most willing clients. Of course, we work primarily with colleagues. Is it hard to take care? Not really. Of course, if there is space, it's not difficult. The thing is, you should have a proper fence. These animals can jump up to 2 meters high. This monster can jump 2 meters? These 600 or 800 kilos can easily jump over a 2-meter fence. Power and strength, absolutely. Calm down. He just back-jumped. It's all right. He just chased this dude. I decided to warn them off, just in case. It's okay. See, he keeps doing this. Well, let's go search for Saigas. So long, bison! In this huge open steppe, it's not easy to spot a Saiga antelope. They're very fast and they can hide in the steppe. It's their natural protection against predators. Now let's look at the horizon. There stands a herd of red deer. I don't see any Saigas here. We'll find some anyway. Let's go. Let's go. We slowly make our way, watching the wildlife. Cranes take wing. "700 red-book cranes live here. It's incredible. This is now. There will be 17,000–20,000. In good years, we could have up to 40,000. This is a fantastic view. You look throughout binoculars, and it feels like you're watching a TV travel show. The flock flies. No other country can compare with this. There is plenty to discover in Ukraine. There are enough places to travel all year round for several years, finding something new. We continue to look for elusive Saigas. In this unique reserve, every step you take, you meet animals which are impossible to pass. On the right side, you see the Przewalski horse. They are famous around the world. Without Askania, I don't think this horse would have survived. Friedrich Eduardovich Pfalzfein brought Przewalski horses here. Friedrich Pfalzfein founded the world's first steppe biosphere reserve in Askania-Nova in the late 19th century. It became his lifetime project. He brought to these lands exotic animals from different parts of the world and created ideal conditions for them, almost identical to wildlife. There is a herd of mares on the right. These are real white horses. They don't have the blood of domestic horses. I had an honor to bring these animals back to the wildlife of Mongolia. It was one of the first rewilding expeditions. Now there are about 300 wild horses in Mongolian wilderness and about 1,700 all over the world. And here we have 67 horses. Girls, what are we afraid of? We are friendly. Oh, I accidentally honked my horn. Let's throw them a few pieces of bread. Let's try to lure them. Legendary Przewalski horses. Look, the young, and a foal is sleeping. He's so cute. Raised his head, resting, relaxing in the grass. Director with a loaf of white bread. Przewalski horses love it very much. Who is there, boy or girl? Who is there with you? Come here, my darling. They perceive him as a leader. If I come over, I'll scare them. They know him. Delicious, right? Yummy. May I come to you? Of course you may. You see, she's expecting a baby soon. Hold the bread. The girl is pregnant. May I touch her? Yeah, sure. She knows people. But you still want to come to me, yes? He's our guest. It's okay. Let's come over to the others. There are many foes. Cool. Hello, Mommy. Hello. Why did you panic? They react to the camera. Could you please stop? I'll talk to them. Babies. Why are you running away? Stop! They're afraid of cameras and we're asked to stop. Why are you sulking? This girl has already been introduced to me. That's why she's so bold. Sasha, don't come close. Cool. She saw me with the owner and now she comes to me. Come on. I just don't believe what's going on. The red book animal is in UNESCO reserve, and you can see it at arm's length and even touch. She was scared of the camera, but the other mare is coming with us and distracting the others from the camera. I hope we'll see the baby now. He's hiding, yeah. How old is he? He's a month old. Very young. He's a baby. As far as I know, they are born and are already capable. Yes, in an hour, he could get milk. Zebras are coming. And the wildebeest. Zebras and the wildebeest. You won't see such an incredible variety of animals even in the African savanna, but in the Kherson region you can find this miracle of nature. As we search for one of the most unusual local inhabitants, I think that I'm proud of our land, its natural resources and unique professionals who are able to enthusiastically maintain and preserve such a miracle of nature. We're approaching the real treasure of Askania-Nova. This is a legendary Saiga antelope. Contemporaries of mammoth, they lived millions of years ago and survived all the ice ages and all the cataclysms. Despite all their survival abilities, Saigas could not protect themselves from the most terrible danger: humans. They were on the verge of extinction in the last century. Only 5% of the population left. Their horns are used in Chinese medicine. That's why Saigas were hunted. Thanks to Askania-Nova Reserve, this terrible danger has been avoided. Saigas will not disappear from the face of the earth. But They are very timid. It's extremely difficult to approach them. Each herd of Saigas has their guards. As soon as they sense danger, they give special signals and the whole herd runs away. It's extremely difficult to catch up with them. They develop a speed of up to 80 kilometers per hour. A human will have to run after them for a very long time. Scientists say that the domestication of Saigas will take hundreds of years, maybe thousands. They're so beautiful. That's crazy. How many Saigas do you have? More than 600. Impressive population, but even with Viktor, who spent 30 years in this steppe, it won't be possible to approach them. There is only one place in the reserve where employees can see Saigas closely and even feed them. A little Saigas can't resist milk. As you can see, these animals are very careful about people. Surprisingly, these young Saigas were close to park staff carers from the day of their birth, but they are still very skeptical of people. These are unreal feelings when you see these kids still so tiny. It's a real thrill. Interestingly, the newborns can walk immediately, and in 20 minutes they do not just walk, they run. It takes a long time while little Saigas start drinking milk from the hands of the rangers. Of course, they won't come to me. So all I have to do is hide around the corner and wait for the bravest baby. Come on, come on. Good boy. Do you like it? It's fantastic. He really has a trunk. He's the bravest. Here, bottom up. What a beautiful Saiga. Well done. You're brave. I got closer and even made friends with this little rare and incredibly fast antelope, but don't get used to it. It might be a very short acquaintance. Push the hay inside, guys, so the box is steady. Now you see how Saiga is being sold to a Chinese farm. It's been bought and we must deliver it to the nursery where it will live. Will it die a natural death? Of course, we already have 39 animals there, but this is the 40th. Is there any harm to our ecological system or the population? No, you see that we have no predators there. That's why we must perform this function and reduce the burden on this steppe. And a little money for salaries at least. No, this money isn't for salaries. This money goes to storage, fuel, fodder, spare parts, to the solution of the reserve issues, for which, unfortunately, the state doesn't give a lot of money. What it should do, though, half of what we need is allocated by the state, everything else Askania is trying to earn. Reality dictates its rules. In order to keep more than 1,200 animals, some of them have to be sold. You know what surprised me? Here's the State Security Service, and I see Chinese symbols. I know the hieroglyphics from my other expeditions. Why are these Chinese characters in our car? This car was donated by the Chinese pharmaceutical company, which uses Saiga horns in folk, or as they call it, traditional medicine. The public service car was donated by a private Chinese company. Yes, they buy deer, sew their horns and make medicines. No, they don't sew their horns. They're waiting for the Saigas to die and then sorry, but yes. Thank God, I thought the Chinese are sewing their horns. No. We visited traditional medicine pharmacies in China. Horns are sold there as medicine for almost all diseases, and they are fabulously expensive. But anyway, there are a lot of customers because the Chinese believe in the miraculous effects of traditional medicine. The most valuable are deer antlers. How much for this box? One antler is about 100 grams. That's 2,000 yuan. Do you believe that antlers have such miraculous properties? We don't have to believe it. It's a proven fact that pentacrine really has a good effect on the human immune system. That's for sure. Science goes forward, and scientists are finding new ways to apply the beneficial properties of nature and animals, but the consequences become known only after valuable species disappear from the face of the earth forever. And there are less people who try to save animals than those who are looking for ways to use them. Looking at these Chinese hieroglyphics, I would like to ask our officials, please support our national heritage, our pride, the Askania-Nova Reserve, because it's not the Chinese who have to buy cars here. And while this message reaches the higher authorities, we can help the miracle of Ukrainian nature too. How can a common person help you in a meaningful way? We need carrots, cabbage, barley, maybe wheat and lots of oats. We have a big shortage of oats here in the region, and all species of horses love oats very much. If you can donate petrol, gas, it's also very, very helpful. Absolutely, because we must protect the territory at all times. We can't just leave the guard. And that means daily surveillance of all territory, which costs a lot of money. I understand that you don't earn much from tourists. You have one train, one car, and that's it. You must understand that you can't earn big money on the nature reserves. One safari train and one car simply don't accommodate everyone, so they don't bring enough money to feed all the animals in the reserve. This is how you and I can help them together. How can we give it to you? Basically, we can put a box with the signs: carrots, cabbage, onions, concentrated fodder at. Why do we ask for food and don't allow people to feed the animals themselves? It's not entirely safe, and we don't know what people bring there. So carrots, cabbage from the store with a price tag. So there is a confirmation of the quality control. Of course, when we purchase this, we do quality control. Dear friends, we announce a new flash mob. Let's help the Askania-Nova Reserve. Each of us can do it. If you go here for a tour, buy at least a kilogram of carrots. If you can't, bring a bag or two or even 3. Or you can officially contact the reserve and offer your patronage. For example, you can take this herd of bison under your care and help them. This is a request to businessmen and people who have big resources. The ordinary tourists can do what they can afford to do. I will donate you some petrol. Okay, deal. This place charges you with energy for the year ahead. It's interesting for everybody: children, adults, fans of extreme tourism, and Insta-bloggers. This is a unique land. There's nothing like this on the planet. It's in Ukraine, in the Kherson region. Come to Askania-Nova. We're moving on. Many people mistakenly believe that you can find something like this only in Africa or other hot countries. No, 120 kilometers from the Askania-Nova Reserve, there's a unique area that you don't expect to see in Ukraine. It will give you a totally new experience and make your vacation exotic. Officially, the Kherson region has an exit to the Black and Azov Seas. It has 200 kilometers of coastline, but the people of Kherson say that there's 5 seas here: the Black Sea, the Azov Sea, Kakhovka Reservoir, Lake Sivash, salty like the Dead Sea, and of course, you can never guess, the Sea of Women. But I believe that there are 6 seas in the Kherson region because there is another famous sea, the Sea of Sands. "30 kilometers from Kherson, there is a unique national nature park, Oleshky Sands, or as it's unofficially called, Ukrainian Sahara. It's huge. Its area is 116 square kilometers. How does our desert differ from others? Why is it dangerous to cross alone? And is it possible to survive here without water? We'll find out now. Did you know that there is such a place in Ukraine? This is just the beginning. We're approaching the desert. The only difficulty on the way, as expected in the wild, is the dirt road, but it doesn't frighten us. You've probably thought now. Here he's driving through a pine forest and talking about the desert. Why? The truth is, the desert in Ukraine does exist, and this forest doesn't let the sense to spread around. In the early 20th century, the desert grew so fast that it began posing a threat. To prevent the whole Kherson region from becoming a Sahara, the expansion of the Oleshky Sands had to be restrained. The only tree that coped with the impending sands was the Crimean pine. We're now entering the desert, but it's still overgrown with grass. Yet in the middle of it, there will be a sand pit we're heading to. The director of the reserve will join us because it's forbidden and unsafe to drive or walk there without any supervision. We are already seeing some picturesque vistas. Look ahead. It's rough terrain, dunes, sand waves. We're here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Dmytro. I am the director of the Oleshky Sands National Nature Park and River Dnipro. I am the head of the Radinska police station, Mykola Rublev. Nice to meet you. Impressive landscapes. I immediately remember the greatest deserts. I've never thought it could be in Ukraine. We have everything in our park: deserts and so-called oases. So there's water here too. Yes. Just under us, at the depth of 300 or 400 meters, there is a huge underground freshwater lake. In the rainy season, small lakes sometimes appear between the dunes. It's the presence of water that distinguishes the Kherson Desert from most others in the world. So, if you're lost, you can survive. Sure. Can you get lost? Oh, it's easy. Has it happened that lone travelers who violated the ban and went without a guide got lost? Yes, a recent example. A tourist from Zaporizhia was using a GPS which gave faulty direction. He finally got to the point where he was able to call the rescue service, who passed the information to us. Eventually, he entered the territory of the military training ground. He was lucky, whereas not training at that time. There is also a military training. Yes, in the north, our park borders a military training ground. That's why it's forbidden to visit the park spontaneously. Anyone who wants a mini expedition is advised to use the services of an official guide. If you still want to go without guides, you can do this. First, you need to call the national park and register to tell them the dates of your travel. I'm looking at these vast areas, and I have a question. What is this giant desert in the heart of Europe? There are many explanations on the internet. A meteorite, a natural disaster, many things. What had really happened? According to one version, this is the old Dnipro stream bed. Once there were many plants here. They say there used to be dense vegetation here. In the early 19th century, the famous Baron Friedrich Feinsfeld, the founder of Askania-Nova, brought tens of thousands of sheep to this region. Huge herds devastated their area, provoking sandstorms, and the land was overcome with sand. So this land of green meadows turned into a real desert. Would you believe that sheep could do this? But if we trust this version, sheep have changed the geography of the Kherson region and gave us a real desert. What are the biggest dangers for the tourists here about the possibility of getting lost? Like a water, you must have a large supply. At this temperature, dehydration comes fast. In summer, the air temperature here reaches 40 degrees Celsius, and the sand can hit up to 75 degrees. At the peak of the heat, you have the same dangers as in any other desert in the world, but the Oleshky Sands also hide another threat, something you don't expect to see. In the 50s, it was an airfield number 48. I see. What was going on here? Almost all Warsaw-packed countries practiced bomb dropping and long-range aviation here. So this desert was bombed for educational purposes. Yes. How did it affect nature? There are a lot of holes, depressions. Almost all of them are formed as a result of the bomb explosions. This landscape was completely changed. When was this desert bombed? From 1950 to the 90s. What bombs were dropped here? We found half tons of smaller bombs here, like 50 kilos. Not exploded. Fortunately, the ones which were found did not explode. Is there a danger today that a bomb that was not found may remain somewhere? The thing is that the sands are moving all the time when wind blows and so on. That's why our guards explore their routes almost every day, making sure that nothing is in the way of tourists, so they feel confident. So there are still enough bombs? Nobody knows. Secondly, there are many wolves here. Even during the guided tours, we've seen wolves in the distance. They come out, look at us, and leave. You don't have to go far. We're standing on a hill, and I see traces. It's a small paw. Who is this? It doesn't look like a hare, maybe a fox. The fox, most likely. Who else lives here? We have a steppe viper. In our desert, you can meet wild boars, steppe vipers, colibris, and even a poisonous caracord spider. Despite the fact that many people, for some reason, are careless about our desert, it's not really safe. We warned the national park employees in advance that we want to see the desert in our own. Now we have arranged means of communication in case we need help. We can continue exploring Oleshky dunes and sand waves. The dunes here are not the same as a Sahara, from 3 to 20 meters. In Abu Dhabi, there may be a dune 100 meters high or even more, but still, it's very, very impressive. What can I say, my friends? The Ukrainian desert is really a way to feel what an extreme desert climate is without leaving your home country. It's scorching now, the sun is getting really hot. Actually, we can measure it with a special equipment. Here, the thermometer with a thermal imager. It's 47 degrees Celsius. If you are planning a not standard trip, make sure that in addition to plenty of water, you always have meals of protection and at least a basic survival kit. In the Ukrainian desert, I took this. Look, the water we almost finished drinking, hot tea in the thermos. I would seem like known as white hot sea in the hot desert. Why do you think in hot countries, in the Emirates, many people drink tea? Because it balances the temperature of the environment with the temperature inside you. Let's see what else. A package of high-calorie food. Seed bars, fruit, leather, chocolate, a plate or a blanket. In the Ukrainian desert, we can make a bed under the tree. If we were somewhere in Sahara, we could arrange a shelter from the sun. A very important accessory. In fact, it's a sleeve. It's useful in winter while skiing. And in desert also. Leave only the opening for the eyes. You can put on a cap and thus protect yourself from the sandstorm. Sandstorms do happen here. Look. What else do I have? Look, a small axe that will help to chop some firewood. 2 or 1, it's a machete and a saw. There are special tablets for water disinfection. They are sold in all tourist shops. Throw 1 tablet per liter and you can drink this water. If you don't have such tablets, you can use just a few manganese crystals. If there is no manganese, iodine. A couple of drops per liter of water will do. You can drink it. The rope must always be in a survival backpack. This is out of discussion. If you find yourself in a wide place and you don't have warm clothes and it's cold at night, then a principle of Greenland chicken is used. In fact, it's fine. If you're cold at night, you lie down on this blanket, wrap yourself in it like the same grilled chicken. And what happens when you take cover this way? What does foil do? It retains heat. You warm yourself with your own body heat. In fact, you are lying in a thermos. This thermal blanket has another very important function. Like a giant mirror, it sways in the wind, makes reflections in all directions, and will be certainly visible from the air. I stand, wave this flag, so I will definitely be noticed. Most of us have a laid-back attitude about the possibility of our survival situation. This is how our brain works. It tells us it's anyone but me, especially when you travel home, where everything seems to be safe. But every year, there are tragic incidents with tourists in Ukraine. Rescuers often cannot find them for weeks or do not find them at all. Usually this happens in the mountains, but in the Kherson desert for tourists without a guide, there are also enough risks. There are simple things that can literally save your life. I always have a compass with me, and it always has a magnifying glass and a mirror. Not to admire yourself, a mirror, my friends, is needed if you suddenly get lost. Someone tries to find you on a helicopter or a rescue plane, but they don't notice you. If you have a mirror, you can send a sunbeam and you'll be noticed. This is very important, and a mirror can really save lives. It's already dark. There is an even more reliable way than a mirror that can be used when you are in Ukraine. This is a flare launcher. If you get lost, you need to have a cartridge that you screw in. And now, let's assume I'm lost. Attention. And a flare goes to the ear. Someone will hear the sound, and they will see the glow of the flare and find you. It doesn't require special permission, and is sold in any hunting store. It's cheap. It's only important to follow safety rules. Because it's pyrotechnics, you should never point it towards people. You hold it with an outstretched hand, only in the direction of the sky and in the direction where there's no vegetation and can catch fire. Another remark is very important. Don't take this with you if you go abroad, because it can be a criminal offense. Because it's pyrotechnics. When there is such a perfectly flat area covered with sand, you can try, if you're lost, to write SOS in large letters. Please help. I'll try to do this now. Here we go. It's perfectly visible from the air. And in combination with all the other measures that we've talked about, you'll be found much faster. But there's the most important accessory I must have for all of my travels. Guess what is it? Here, my flag, my mascot, my symbol, the heart binder of victory and all of the best to come. The mascot of all the expedition of Sasha, Dmytro and I around the world. This flag has been on mountain peaks, Mont Blanc, Kilimanjaro, Huayna Potosí, Pike Island near Everest. It has been traveling with me to almost all continents for more than 15 years. I've never washed it, and it always brought us only luck. The desert is a tricky matter. By the way, the legendary Soviet film White Sun of the Desert has also planned to be shot here. This location was seriously considered, but in the end, they filmed it elsewhere. Oh, a steep lift. Let's run on. Today, deserts attract the attention not only of filmmakers, but also of extreme athletes. Sandboarding. It's like snowboarding, but on sand. The same can be done with skis, just instead of mountains, they use sand dunes. The most popular sand skiing destination is the African Namib Desert. Its dunes reach a height of 300 meters. The Americans equip trampolines in their desert. And in Germany, there's a resort for lovers of conquering the sand dunes, Monte Caolino. We'll check now whether this sport can become popular in Ukraine. I put on my ski boots. This is the first time I do it in such heat. boots are on. The skis are wide, specifically for skating on virgin snow. For the first time, my skis traveled in Ukraine, not in Bukovel, not in Selfie, not in Dragobrod, but in the desert. Now let's see if they work on the sand or not. Let's check. It's simple to choose a dune. The reserve advises choosing a slope. There is no vegetation. Well, very rare plants can be found in Oleshky. We were advised to take this slope near the entrance to the desert. The very first time I go downhill for sand skiing. I've never done this in my life. Desert skiing. Well, my friends, you can't call it skiing, the glide is lame, but it's really fun, definitely exciting, new experience, feelings, emotions, and a way to diversity of vacation in the Kherson region. Sasha, drop the camera, take the snowboard and ride. Well, Sasha, come on, rock it. Come on, try it once. Wow, great. Well done. Come on, come on, come on. Complete this mission. At least crawl the bottom, and it will be at least something. Friends, Oleksandr Dmytro, a cameraman who can do anything, shooting video and jumping on a snowboard on the sand, even when he's not sliding. So, is that you're all capable of? That's it. How do you feel? I didn't expect that. Crazy speed. I barely stopped. In short, a snowboard is not working. What would you recommend to tourists who go to the famous Ukrainian desert or the Kherson region? Don't take a snowboard. Don't take it. So you can see with snowboarding the same story as with skiing. It's ready for the season, waxed, and sand sticks to the wax. I have the same. If you want to go skiing in Kherson, you need to take old used skis, polish them with sandpaper to keep them smooth, because otherwise they just won't go. Classic snowboarding, classic skiing does not work here, but nevertheless we have beautiful photos. What can I say? A short trip to our desert, an exotic fun and a very unusual kind of holiday. You can come for a day, just take a walk and take pictures, and you can stay in their tent and spend the night. There is no artificial light, and the starry sky is fantastic. A great way to switch from the hustle and bustle of the city. So if in addition to classic weekend trips to Lviv or Odessa, you want something exotic, the Kherson region is perfect. The nature and wildlife here are really no less impressive than in Africa. Safari, where the animals are at arm's length, a huge hot desert. These emotions will definitely be remembered for a lifetime and will not leave anyone indifferent. In the next episode, the Black Sea coast in all its glory. It's a thrill. The most unexpected places in the south of Ukraine. Fantastic nature, the Amazon is very behind. We'll visit the Ukrainian city on the water. Boats are the main transport. Every family must have a boat. Here's your home. Great. Explore the lost island of antique legends. Zmyiny Island can also be called a treasure island. Learn the secret of one of the most expensive delicacies. Ukraine was home to oysters, and to eat it properly, it's good to sip. Everyone should hear it. Travel around Ukraine with Metro Camera.